Thank you for joining us for National Focus. I'm Mervin. Coming up, Prime Minister Skerrit says the DLP government has brought real change to Dominica. The Casa Bruce MP reiterates his commitment to his people, and the bill is passed to allow for more tax relief for citizens. Stay tuned for details of these and others after this.
A lot of bathtubs are blamed for bruises. Some staircases are accused of being responsible for broken bones. Doors are occasionally viewed suspiciously as causing lesions. A high percentage of tables are accused of producing bleeding or trauma. Violence against women is a crime, and it's everyone's responsibility. It's inexcusable. If you're a victim or witness of physical or psychological violence or abuse, seek help and denounce the perpetrator.
Thanks for staying with us. Work continues on Phase 1 of the Roseau River Promenade project. This phase involves the construction of a river wall on the northern bank of the Roseau River. Engineer at the Ministry of Public Works, Energy and Ports, Emmy Lancelot, explains.
This project was born out of the need to increase the resilience against flooding of the northern bank of the Roseau River as a result of the expected works involved in the Promenade project, which is on the southern bank of the river. Now, in preparation for the Roseau Promenade project, a hydrology study was performed, and that study recommended that for a certain section of the northern bank that the existing wall be raised or increased protection to the existing northern bank of the Roseau River be provided as a prerequisite to the Promenade project, because the Promenade project involves an encroachment into the Roseau River of approximately 12 feet. Now, that meant that we had to do designs, and now we have the works followed up on these designs. The works designed for this area involve the construction of 40 meters of retaining wall, starting from this area where we're standing, that's close to the West Bridge, extended to just towards close to Minia's supermarket. And effectively, that retaining wall will be approximately 1 meter or about 3 feet taller than the existing wall, the wall which pre-existed in that area.
The Honorable Minister for Tourism, Ian Douglas, anticipates significant benefits from the construction of the next phase of the project.
Our visitors, particularly those who come on the cruise ships, must come into the city, because most of our cruise ships dock right there, either at the bayfront or at the Woodbridge Bay, and in fact, or inevitably and ultimately come into Roseau. And we expect that the Roseau River Promenade will give a major boost to the ambience and the atmosphere of Roseau, and attracting persons and continuing to be an attractive place within the Dominica destination.
The DLP candidate for the Roseau Central, Senator Alvin Bernard, says the project is already having a positive impact on the capital.
The project would provide a number of short-term jobs for persons with various skills in the area of Roseau, casual labor and skilled and semi-skilled persons. So this is the first benefit that we expect to realize from this activity.
We will bring you more details on this project in subsequent newscasts. The communities of the Roseau North constituency can look forward to a boost to their area. So says MP for the Roseau North constituency, Honorable Julius Timothy, who says that the newest addition of an indoor sporting facility will bring great improvement to the area and the lives of the people who live there. Honorable Julius Timothy was speaking at a site visit to the area in Stock Farm, where the new indoor sporting facility will be constructed.
We have the college. We now have the Goal 2 project that is now ongoing. This is really going to boost up the area. Above all else, the owners of the properties in the area, they're going to have the value of the property is going to go up significantly. If you see a little lower down, we have the old landfill that now has settled for about 14 years, and we are ready to develop it further. This is going to be not only the premier site in Dominica, but I think in the whole OECS, this will be a premier sporting site.
The group responsible for construction, RLO Consulting Group from Miami, is expected to be back in Dominica in a few months with the final plan for the construction of that facility. In more news, the leader of the Dominica Labour Party government, Honorable Prime Minister Skerrit, asserts that change has been brought to Dominica when the reins of leadership was given over to the Labour Party. He says that change is even more evident now when, even these financial challenging times, so much has been accomplished.
We all know that change came to Dominica in February of 2000 when we replaced the Workers' Party with the coalition government. And we have seen the transformation. We have seen the transformation. We have seen the transformation in agriculture, in infrastructure, in education, in healthcare. Because when, before 2005, we had no intensive care unit in Dominica. None. And when I speak to doctors and they tell me the number of people who have gone through this intensive care unit, it tells us that if you can appreciate the number of people who may have died because of a lack of intensive care unit. We have the mammogram now. We have the CT scan. We have to go to Antigua to do a CT scan in Dominica. When we came into government, we had no dialysis machines at the hospital. We went to 1, we went to 2, now we have 9 top-class dialysis machines at the hospital providing services to people suffering with kidney problems.
Government, which considers youth the catalyst for change, is especially proud of the change it has brought in the area of education.
When we came into office, 44% of all high school graduates, primary school graduates, had access to high school. We set ourselves a target to achieve universal access to education in 2007. This government achieved it in 2005, 2 years in advance, because of our concerted efforts and investments in education. When we came into office in 2000, only 7% of all high school graduates in Dominica had access to the college. Only 7%. So it meant 93% of all high school graduates never made it beyond high school in Dominica. And how could you develop a country without that? How could you develop a country without trained and skilled people? We had to educate our masses. And today, we have set the platform at the State College with the construction of the facilities at Stock Farm to allow for 100% access. Today, it is 87%. So the 13%, you need to get the minimum requirements to get into the college because there is a space for you at the State College.
Agriculture has also received focused attention from the DLP government.
The only problem we have in this government in agriculture is that we do not talk sufficiently about what we do in agriculture. Because if we were to speak about what we've been doing in agriculture, it would take us a very long time. We have invested more in agriculture than any government before us in this country. They talk about when we decided to construct a coffee plant, the opposition laughed at us. We were ridiculed in Parliament by saying we have no coffee, what do you need in a coffee plant? But France and Switzerland have no cocoa trees, but they sell chocolates to us. But what we have done is that we have rehabilitated several hundreds of acres of coffee in Dominica. And we have planted several thousands of cocoa seedlings in Dominica with a view to supplying the coffee plant with domestically grown coffee. And we've already secured the markets in the Alba countries.
Based on the 2014-2015 national budget, the DLP government clearly has planned even more positive changes for the economic expansion of this island. The funds which government has been investing into the country is money well spent. That's according to Honorable Parliamentary Representative for the St. Joseph constituency, Kelvin Darrow, as he gave support to the bill for the Supplementary Appropriation 2013-2014 Act at Parliament last Thursday. Honorable Darrow highlighted specific areas which government has invested in that he believes has greatly impacted the lives of individuals. At the top of the MP's list was water supply projects.
This Labour Party administration has placed tremendous emphasis and focus in ensuring that pipe-borne water has been brought to every community across the country. And I sat here, Mr. Speaker, and I listened to the Senator when she remarked that in the community of Bells there is no pipe-borne water. Currently, as I speak, work has begun on a $4.5 million water project for the community of Bells, Penrise, and by extension, Salton and Laipak, Mr. Speaker. A $4.5 million project.
Over $2 million was appropriated for the West Coast Water Supply Project in this year's supplementary estimates. Another investment, which was close to home for the Honorable Parliamentary Representative, was in disaster relief.
I can recall, Mr. Speaker, in 2011, there were two disasters in my constituency. The collapse of the Mate Dam and tropical stormophilia, and the significant damage that was done. In 2013, we saw a similar occurrence taking place in the southern part of the country. And the homes that were affected, the individuals who were affected, this government responded in a practical way, Mr. Speaker. That's what we're about. We're about ensuring that we can meet the needs of our people. That's right. No pie in the sky ideas. That's right. Because the reality is, Mr. Speaker, the reality is that as a government of the people, we have to reach out to our people.
According to Thursday's supplementary appropriation presentation, over $2 million was secured from the Caribbean Development Bank to meet payment for emergency works and cost of cleanup operations following the torrential rains of December 2013. Honorable Darrow could not go without mentioning the impact of education.
I have seen here, under the schedule of supplementary appropriation, funds that have been allocated towards the advancement of the education of our young people of this country. And in my constituency, I have made a commitment in the community of Layo, with a TTV scholarship program. And again, this year, that program has continued. It has continued. And at the TTV Festival, the last Sunday of this month, which I invite all Dominica to come and join us in Layo for the TTV Festival, we'll be making an official presentation to the recipient of that scholarship.
From January to June 2014, government provided a total of $2 million to meet commitments to tertiary institutions on behalf of Dominican students. On conclusion of the debate on supplementary estimates presented to the House of Parliament last Thursday by Prime Minister Honorable Luce Skerrit, Honorable Ambrose George, the Minister for Information, Telecommunications and Constituency Empowerment, expressed satisfaction with the deliberation put forward by his colleagues. The supplementary estimates were approved in the House of Parliament on Monday. Honorable Ambrose George subsequently put another matter before the House for debate, a bill to amend income and corporate tax. The aim of the bill is to increase the amount of disposable income to citizens and to facilitate the private sector in creating jobs.
The bill being presented will allow for the implementation of the income tax measures announced in the 2014 budget address. 4 of the measures announced in the address are to be effected by amendments to the Income Tax Act, Chapter 6701, of the 1990 revised laws of Dominica. In addition, Madam Speaker, a provision is being made for the sharing of information between two of the main revenue agencies of government. The following are the specific amendments contained in the amendment bill. Section 3 of the amendment bill addresses the issue of information sharing between the agencies of the Ministry of Finance. With the introduction of risk management practices at both the Inland Revenue Division, the IRD, and the Customs Division, the sharing of information between the agencies is necessary to undertake the necessary post-clearance and audit activities for all major tax types.
Section 4 of the amended bill addresses the increase of non-taxable allowance for citizens from $20,000 to $25,000 per annum, while Section 5 addresses the increase of mortgage allowance from $15,000 to $25,000 per annum. Section 6 introduces a new component to the Income Tax Act and benefits private businesses.
For a business to qualify for rebate, the new hires must be engaged in new jobs, not replacement, acting, or temporary jobs. The rebate will be equivalent to 2% of the gross salary paid to a new employee. The maximum rebate per hire per 12-month period is set at $600. The maximum rebate per employer is set at $6,000 per 12-month period. The benefit will be applied to the filing for the corresponding tax year. Section 7 of the amendment bill amends the 5th schedule of the Income Tax Act and provides for the reduction of the corporate income tax rate from 30% to 25% over a 2-year period.
Section 7 provides for the reduction of the corporate income tax rate from 30% to 25% over a 2-year period. In the first year, it will be reduced to 28%. In responding to the debate, Honorable Prime Minister Roosevelt Skerrit highlighted that thousands of Dominicans have enjoyed tax relief.
This administration, this Labour Party administration, we increased the threshold several times. Right. To the point where, Madam Speaker, today there are many people in this country, thousands of them, in excess of 4,000 Dominican employees who are no longer paying income tax because of the Dominica Labour Party.
In more news, the service of the Honorable Parliamentary Representative for the Casabros constituency, Johnson Drago, has been endorsed by the Honorable Prime Minister Roosevelt Skerrit. The Dominica leader told Casabros residents that the loyalty, persistence and passion found in the parliamentary representative is praiseworthy.
I can tell you that this part you have Johnson Drago. I mean, he is always on the ball, you know, and he is pushing to get things going. He is just like Lauren Barnes in the days and so on. You know, they will be at you every single day. And so Johnson Drago is at me every single day for a number of things in this constituency. So he has been representing you very well, and I have the greatest personal regard for him and his efforts and so on. And there are times I have to tell him, look, take a break, put your phone away, go and rest and so forth, because he always wants to be out there trying to get things done and so on. And it speaks to his passion, it speaks to his real interest in representing people, coming from a background of social work in this constituency.
Honorable Drago wanted constituents to know that despite the political murmurings from the opposition, he remains focused on his task to take Casabros to the next level.
My job is not to be distracted. Don't be afraid of all the noise I'm hearing around me. Don't be afraid. It's a political campaign and there must be noise. In the meantime, please remain steadfast, because I am part of a government that has every Dominican at heart. And I am working tirelessly for you. I will not get everything you ask, trust me on that. And there are times when you will be disappointed because I failed to deliver something. But that's the process of things.
The MP went on to reaffirm his dedication to his constituents and to the cause.
I say to you, I'm not going nowhere, and I have not just arrived. I am 47, full of life, and my commitment to you is resolute. One of the good days, you will be called upon again to go to the polls. I am looking for your support to ensure that I continue the work that I have started in this constituency. My job is to ensure that persons who have never contributed before and who are still not contributing, my job is to ensure that these persons stay out of the political life of Casabus. They will make their contribution in other ways, no problem, but they will stay out of the political life of the community. Because if you want to lead us here, you must have a track record of service.
The Honorable Reginald Austri, Minister for Housing, in lending his support to the supplementary estimate invested in the agricultural sector, has applauded the work of the Roosevelt Skerrit-led administration in the fight against the black sigatoka disease. He noted, however, that the effort of government alone cannot lead to the eradication of that disease.
Grenada, St. Lucia, Guadeloupe, Martinique, all of them have had their bad experiences with black sigatoka, Madam Speaker. And even the French countries that have much more resources than we have, they're still really struggling and battling with black sigatoka, Madam Speaker. I understand, Madam Speaker, that the disease can be eradicated, but it can be controlled. But it's a very expensive exercise. And a lot of that would have to do with the farmers' own discipline, Madam Speaker. The farmers themselves have a lot to contribute to the control of the disease.
Honorable Austria also highlighted government's investment in providing potable water to the entire island. He spoke particularly of $2 million spent to bring water to the community of Grand Savan in Salisbury. And that's the English news. McPherson St. Luce is next with the Creole highlights.
Allô tout le monde, bienvenue à ces nouvelles en créole. Non, moi c'est McPherson St. Luce. Premièrement, président Dominique, His Excellency Charles Savren, c'est chef en délégation Dominique qui a attendu sommet Nations Unies. Ça fait pour faire et puis changement climatique et puis débat général Nations Unies, car aussi prend place. D'autres membres de délégation là, c'est ambassadeur Dominique Nations Unies, His Excellency Dr. Vince Henderson, ambassadeur OAS Hugo Charles et puis Baroness Patricia Scotland. Président Savrin qui livré l'adresse Dominique vendredi, ou la attention que mettait à ces achievements Dominique Millennium Development Goals et puis bagaille qu'a concerné Small Island Developing States, ça c'est petit pays en relation pour changement climatique en parmi d'autres. Délégation Dominique a aussi attendu d'autres grands meetings. En autre nouvelle, ministre jeunesse Honorable Justine Charles qui a créé à ce jeunesse pays là pour continuer participation en festivités indépendantes. Honorable Charles fait parole cela pendant l'activité indépendante lancée.
Là, nous regardons toutes ces activités-là. Nous sommes plus jeunes, nous avons passé, nous même ni grand monde. So, nous avons compliment pour ça. Et bien, nous demandons pour continuer. Nous aussi qui ont les gens en public là, les gens publics, pour venir par yo support, si pour yo besoin. Because yo ka faire un bitin autant de nous pas que faire, yo ni talent. Yo ni talent, so vini ba yo si pour yo besoin pour yo succeed ensemble.
On a nouvelle une exposition pour bas public là information service gouvernement qui prend place vendredi en l'occasion Government Headquarters en Wozo. Expo là qui a formé par célébration service public l'année 2014. Ils ont déjà chaîne plus bonheur et puis généralement yo ka chaîne à une manière bas opportunité pour officiers publics et puis public là en général, taper information service secteur public a offert. Officier ministre agriculture qui bat information à ce backyard gardening, composting, pendant information et filing, changement climatique, ça fait la douane en parmi d'autres qui prend place. Journée service public qui a le 5 décembre l'année là. Et puis finalement, festival privé qui a formé par promotion Festival Créole Mondial. Parole celle-là sortie officier DFC Marv Williams.
Pour faire promotion pour festival là, nous avons commencé une grande promotion en Dominique même Comme nous savons, nous avons le festival d'Ouive qui a fait grand momentum pour le festival là et nous avons commencé là vendredi qui a venu, ça c'est vendredi 26 septembre et nous avons allé au Crazy Coconuts. Comme nous savons, Indépendance qui a ouvert vendredi aussi. Après ouvert Indépendance Dominique, nous avons accueilli tout le monde pour descendre au Crazy Coconuts. C'est la porte là ouverte ou pas pour payer rien. Et nous avons présenté le festival là en disant une grande manière promotion. Nous avons Triple K Global, nous avons Ecstasy Band, nous avons DJ Mystic. Ou payer un ticket pour aller au festival là, nous avons promotion et puis c'est différents labels là comme Heineken, Carib, Kubuli et Digicel aussi partenaire nous qui là qui a fait présentation bah c'est mouna qui est venu au festival d'Ouive là. Ça qui continue tous les vendredis jusqu'au le festival là.
Promotion billet qui aussi prend place week-end là.
Nous avons mené au Moun La Plaine. Samedi après premier festival du Vela, ça c'est samedi 27 septembre. Nous avons accueilli mon Kenfield, Roger, Sultan, Poncassé, Rosalie, Grandfond, Rivière Syrique, Monjon, La Plaine pour attendre nous. Nous avons quitté Roseau à peu près 2 heures et nous avons fait certains qui nous passaient en ces différents côté là ça. On peut attendre nous à Chimela, mettez $200 à sous côté. Si vous voulez acheter billet, ticket saison là, nous kenni.
Messieurs, mesdames, ça c'est tout pour nouvelle en créole pour à présent. Non, moi c'est McPherson, Saint-Louis. Au revoir.
Coming up, your tip of the day.
The WASCO recognizes that clean water is vital to healthy living. Therefore, it spares no effort in providing a clean, safe, and reliable system. Help keep our rivers safe and clean. Do not cut trees along the river banks and do not pollute with garbage, human or animal feces, and chemicals. Think water, think life.
Does your steak take up more than half your plate? Think about cutting your serving of beef in half. That's because it's best to try and fill half your plate with veggies or a mixture of veggies and fresh fruit, so that it's harder to overdo it on the more caloric dishes. And that's all for this edition of National Focus. We always welcome your suggestions and your comments. Drop us an email at gis@dominica.gov.dm or visit our website at news.gov.dm. Like us on our Facebook page, facebook.com/GIS News Dominica. You can also catch up on past National Focus newscasts on our GIS Dominica YouTube channel. On behalf of the entire news production team, I'm Mervin Matthew. Thanks for watching.